Jewish supporters of Donald Trump impulsively point out that a particular Hebrew translation of his first and last name come out with a gematria of 424, identical to that of Moshiach ben David, the one who stops history and brings in the final redemption. Unfortunately for the wishful thinkers, there is nothing of righteousness found in the soul of this rapist and thief. There will be no stop to the disaster, no uniting of the nations, no bursting of the gate which pours the knowledge of God unto everyone, male or female, rich or poor, colonized or uncolonized. The world under the rule of Trump is one which continues its fragmentation through neocolonialism, drone wars, border walls, financial thuggery, and accelerating state terror against nature. It needs to be reminded that Trump's presidency is no lone diamond emerging from sludge. Around the world, we are witnessing the emergence of the far right as neoliberal capitalism continues plundering the earth. European nations promote xenophobia and a return to 19th century nationalist sentiment of borders upon borders. Israel is becoming more fascistic, as are its neighboring Arab states. The days of anarcho-kibbutzim and Marxist-influenced Arab liberation movements have entered the dustbin of history. The same postmodern ethnocentrism championed by naive leftists as liberating for colonized peoples is taking an iron-fisted turn in Turkey, India, the Philippines, and several African nations. Russia and China have ceased to be glowing alternatives to the barbarism of capitalist exploitation, but frolic in exploitative projects of their own. One particular tzaddik revealed shortly before his death that right before the end of days there will be a malicious assault on the righteous people and their teachings. This appears today when those calling themselves the left scoff and mock the previous histories of communist struggle and denounce the wisdom of the revolutionary theorists of the past. Comrades who tirelessly fight against the capitalist beast in India, Greece, Turkey, Kurdistan, Chiapas, Peru, Chile, Venezuela, Bolivia, Novorossiya, and even within the prisons of the imperialist states are slandered. In a redux of tired Soviet truisms, the modern left chooses passivity and prefers to remain entertained in fantasies of short-term reformisms, enslaved by delusions of gradualism and belief in salvation through technology, two things which, incidentally, can only exist due to massive domination of the global south and of the earth itself. The progressive policies of charlatan Obama and other heads of state from his milieu have been proven to be an epic failure in stopping the mass destruction. Of course, they were never meant to do that at all. Attachment to the neo-colonial-driven welfare state has only made Western peoples lazy, stupid, and oblivious, leaving us with minds too mechanical to put a stop to the ongoing catastrophe. Cookie-cutter university radicals dedicated their knowledge to countless hours of virtue policing, hipster fashion, and corporate pop music, all while the Holy Spirit shrieked for the broken creation within which she dwells. It is during these times of failed socialism when fascism starts its grim takeover of society. The riots, the police state, the inability of political leaders from either the right or left to deal with the existing conditions, the austerity, the unveiling of race war, the runaway technological slavery, the gang rape of nature. This is capitalism in decay, symbolic of the degeneration of the generations spoken by our righteous sages. Even bourgeois economists are predicting mass global insurrections as the final cry of the disenfranchised among the ruins. The significance of the redemption lies not with a repulsive snake such as Trump or any of his counterparts throughout the globe, but in the urgency his rulership has already revived. For even without pushing a single button, the Trump presidency reveals the intrinsic bloodthirsty nature of America. This is no moralistic hyperbole, as anyone who knows the history of this country can show. Even before the dawn of neoliberalism from the Carter era onward, American culture has been one of complete narcissism and degeneracy. Every American furthers the longevity of this imperialist collusion through participation within its cultural superstructure. Despite the human face painted on by 8 years of quasi-social democratic opioids coming to an end, there is no guarantee it will prompt a coalition of the willing. Progressives and other mainstream leftists fight to keep their good capitalism. They dread the blast and rush of social upheaval. Alas for them, Trump is not the cause of tragedy, but its most severe symptom. Those who deny this are of no use to those who wish to destroy the cycle in its entirety. Now that the spectacle can no longer obscure centuries-old antagonisms, there is no better time for the willing to act. We know from the teachings of our mystics that the arrival of the final redemption and the repair of all fragmented worlds is based entirely on our actions in this world. Even if the unholy side of God bombards us with the claws of state repression, malicious conditions, rejection from the common people, or even confusion which poisons our hearts, we will keep making attempts to destabilize the system into dust, in hopes this chaos will create the event which allows for the break in history to occur. It's said repeatedly in the Zohar HaKodesh that the final redemption comes during a period of all-out war, when the tower of suffering that is human history reaches its highest height. The histories of nearly all revolutions aiming at the redemption of humankind prove this. The Russian Revolution, the Spanish Revolution, the Chinese Revolution, multiple attempts at decolonization under the banner of communism, even the efforts in Rojava, all came from the smoke of civil conflict. The Zohar also states our holy Moshiach comes as much from the side of evil as the side of good. Even traditional Jewish teachings simultaneously portray our Redeemer as both a figure of peace and a figure of war. Likewise, each attempt at redeeming humankind never went without a festered revolutionary terror. God does not bestow the most significant messianic power on the most stingy and pious, but on those who wish to retrieve the holiness out of everything and anything. The American way of life cannot be saved. It must be destroyed by the flames of communist revolution. Empire must be dissolved from the inside by the actions of the few who have overcome its spectacle. The Trump-loving right would love to write us off as eternal victims. Our deeds should prove we refuse to remain victims. The moralisms of the broken society shall not be our barriers. We will do whatever we can to ensure the swift coming of our righteous Redeemer, the one who will finally put an end to the cyclone of violence which has existed since the start of creation. May the Holy One, blessed be He, protect us throughout the next 4 years. Amen v'amen.